Hey, it's Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach, and it's Real Talk Monday. I know you're looking and thinking, man, Rick's kind of got a red face, and it matches his hat and his shirt. Wasn't intentional, I promise you. Rock Bottom Outreach went to an event called Singing at the Point, left on Friday. Had a wonderful time. It was myself, Darren Barton was there, Brad, David Hankins, Ronnie Cook, Carla, Allison Barton. Had an absolute blast, and it was such a blessing to be there. But you know, it's funny when you're sitting outside and you're getting busy and you're doing stuff and you kind of notice the weather a little bit. But on this day, on Saturday, the wind was blowing, the sun was out, but I kind of noticed, like, man, my arms are just burning, like my forearms in an unusual way. And before I know it, I'm burnt very badly, which turned out to have something to do with the medication I was taking. So, which we think, so kind of a reaction to that medication. But my point in saying that is this, is a lot of times before you know it, you're burnt and you never notice it. And so later on, and you get in the shower and you're like, man, I got a lot more sun than I thought I did, and just you weren't aware of it. And so with that said, listening to the music, testimonies, looking at a friend of ours, Brian Gordon, we've not seen in 30 years, it just really kind of prompted a thought. And so everyone this weekend, I asked them, and I'm going to ask you the same thing right now. During your time of running from God, running, thugging, being an outlaw, whatever that looked like to you, were you ever aware that he was pursuing you? Were you ever aware of his presence? I know for me, because I accepted Christ when I was 12, and I didn't know a lot about him, but I knew the difference between right and wrong and what I felt the Christian should or should not be doing. And actually, I had conviction. I knew that God was working on me then. And so a lot of times I would return home, if you would, and, not very long, but some other people responded with, man, I had no idea. I had no idea that God was working, moving in my life. But now that I look back and I realize, man, there's got to be a God. And you begin to see how he worked in your life, how he protected you. And so I don't know about you, but again, it's interesting to listen to different opinions of when God just finally revealed himself to them. And that's the personal side of it. But, I want you to know today, man, that God loves you. He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. And a lot of times you're like, God, where are you in the midst of the storm? And he's right there in the storm with you, I promise. But, I want to go to Deuteronomy when Joshua was going to succeed Moses or step in his shoes. Moses was now 125 years old. And, but Moses, actually shared this with Joshua when he said this in chapter 31, verse 5. He said, the Lord will deliver them to you, and you must do to them all that I have commanded you. And then he says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you, and he will never leave you or he'll never forsake you. Right now, I want you to look back at your life and begin to see if you can see a time that God began to move and reveal himself to you. When did you finally become aware that God was present and that he was really there always and he was fully in control of your life? Because a lot of times he's there, you just don't see it until later on. Kind of like a sunburn, or in my case, bad blisters. You're not aware of it, but all of a sudden you shower and you're pretty aware of it. Hey, it's Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach. It's Real Talk Monday, and love to hear your feedback today. Have a great day.